Hey everyone, Ronnie Chalvis here, and previously I did a tutorial on the wall run, and that's the move you use to get yourself grabbing the top of a wall, but then the next trick is to pull yourself up onto the wall that we're going to call the wall climb up, which requires mostly technique, but also the more strength you have is going to be beneficial as well. So in this tutorial I'm going to teach you the technique to properly climb up to the top of a wall and some exercises you can do to improve your wall climb strength. So when first learning this move, you want to find a wall that's not too high because you're going to want to be able to jump into it a little bit to help you learn proper technique, because otherwise if you're doing it on a massive wall, it's going to take a long time to learn the technique from just a straight hang, which is a much harder wall climb. That's going to take a lot more strength. But if you do the technique properly, then you'll be able to not require as much strength and be able to just pull yourself up into the climb up. So the basic technique we're going to do when starting the wall climb is you're going to want to use your feet on the wall, and maybe even starting from the ground, but basically it's like you're going to be doing a pull-up, only instead of hanging close to the wall and doing a pull-up, you're actually going to be using your feet against the wall to kind of push your hips up a little bit and have your back up a little bit, and then as you pull yourself in is when you bring your chest in for the push-up. So the more you can push against the wall, the easier the wall climb is going to be, and the more momentum you have going into it, the easier each motion in the wall climb will be. Part of the reason why you're pushing away from the wall is to prevent your feet from slipping, because if you're pushing straight down, it's not going to give you much traction. So pushing away a little bit helps give you that traction against the wall to use your feet. But then also you want to be pulling into the wall at the same time, so it's one singular motion and you're building this momentum, because you're going to need that momentum to go into the next move, which is the transition from here to here. And this is actually the hardest part of the whole wall climb up, is doing this transition, because if you don't have the momentum to go from here to there, that's going to take a lot of strength. That's like doing just a clean straight muscle up. So ideally you want as much power and speed as possible going into that pull up, so that you can then use that momentum to go into that transition and keep that momentum carried through as you do the push-up. Now that dip, that push-up motion, is basically just a push-up. It doesn't require any special technique, but the more strength you have, the easier that motion will be, and also the more momentum you have, the easier that motion will be. So the more fluid and continuous this whole motion is, the faster and more clean your wall climb will look. So ideally you're also using your momentum from the wall run as you're going into the climb up, and that'll give you the most optimal fast climb up you can do. But sometimes you're just hitting a really tall wall and you're just doing everything you can to reach and grab the top, and at that point it's just a free hang. And so in that moment you're going to have to use a little bit of strength to be able to get yourself into the position to execute the climb up. And so what I like to do when I'm in the hang is I'm free hanging, and then I just kind of pop my hips back and my shoulders so I can get my feet up, and then from this position I can just do the rest of the technique. After you get to the push-up position, then it's just a matter of stepping your foot up and standing up on top, though you can additionally do the pop-up, which I have another tutorial on, which is where you pop your feet up all the way to the top in one single motion. You can check out the tutorial on that, but just to go over that briefly, basically from the position of pulling yourself up, you want to keep your chest and hips up and keep that motion going all the way up until you can pull your feet in and land your feet on the top of the wall. Some things you want to avoid doing are using your elbows to climb up the wall, as well as using your knees for the push-up. Those can be bad on your joints, and you can do it if it's absolutely necessary for you to get up on a wall that you're hanging off of, that you need to get up. But when you're training these, you don't want to do those, and you don't want to train them that way. And so if that's what you're struggling with, then it'll help you learn how you can train it correctly so that you can avoid using your elbows and knees to do the climb up. So that's the basic technique for doing the wall climb, and that's all you're going to really need to be able to do a successful wall climb. But to really have them confidently and mastered in any sort of situation, and to be able to do them many times in a row, you're going to want to have more physical strength. And so the strength training exercises you can do for the wall climb include just basic motions like the pull-up and the push-up or the dip. Any body weight exercises doing those types of motions are going to significantly improve your strength and ability to do the wall climb. You can also get creative and come up with all sorts of exercises using a wall. And so here I'm going to show you just a bunch of different exercises I've come up with when I'm training my wall climb strength, but I'm sure you can come up with your own, and there's a lot more out there, so don't be afraid to play around and have fun with it. So that's how you do your basic wall climb. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and remember to check out my previous tutorial on the wall run to learn how to connect these two moves together. But otherwise, subscribe for more parkour tutorials, and thanks for watching.